been a huge part of this year. Like, it's just been so challenging, like being active and playing 4 games and then not, and like not feeling the best, and then like frustrated of like how hard I worked in the off season, and then like all I do is rehab and like continue to do this process, and just like trying to trust that the best I can. And obviously there's really frustrating days.
Welcome back to Basketball Files. If you live for the truth behind the headlines, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell icon. What happens when the WNBA's most valuable star goes down with an injury and the league tries to act like nothing is wrong? Caitlin Clark has finally spoken out in a sit-down interview with Sue Bird, marking the most in-depth public conversation she has had so far about her injury struggles. For the first time, Clark opened up about the emotional weight of being thrown directly into her 30th game without any sort of proper build-up, and how that eye-opening experience changed her perspective on what her injured teammates have endured. In the past, she described the mental battle of being stuck on the sidelines while watching the league's viewership take a noticeable hit during her absence. The vulnerability she displayed revealed not just the personal toll this season has taken on her, but also the uncomfortable truth about how crucial she is to the WNBA's success. When Sue Bird asked her about the process of returning, Clark explained there are days when things feel a little easier, when she feels extremely motivated and close to the finish line of getting back on the court. But then, reality sets in. She doesn't have the luxury of a training camp to ease back in. Instead, she's suddenly thrown into Game 30 and told to perform at a high level immediately, which she admitted is incredibly hard. This entire experience has given her valuable insight into what many of her teammates have gone through in similar situations, something she had never personally experienced until now. Clark's injury struggles began unexpectedly and hit hard, forcing her to face a challenge she had never encountered in her basketball career. It started with a left quad injury during preseason, which turned out to be just the start of what would become a season-defining battle. She missed 5 games from May 28th to June 10th due to that quad strain. Then came another setback, a left groin injury that sidelined her for 4 more regular season games, plus the Commissioner's Cup final from June 26th to July 5th. But the most devastating blow came with a right groin injury that has kept her out since July 15th, marking the final straw in what has been a frustrating Spango season that tested her mental resilience far more than any physical challenge she had ever faced. She admitted that one of the hardest parts was the unfamiliarity. Clark had never dealt with injuries before, so when she first began feeling pain, she didn't fully understand what was happening. She questioned whether she was just tight, whether age was catching up to her, whether she simply needed to stretch, get some muscle work done, or apply some icy hot. This period became a learning process about understanding her body. She now believes that no matter whether it's this year, next year, or further down her career, she will look back and be thankful for what this moment taught her. The uncertainty of her situation gnawed at her in ways she never could have predicted. As someone who never missed games in college, adjusting to the harsh physical demands of professional basketball was a wake-up call. She explained in her interview with Sue Bird that without the typical ramp-up period, she was simply tossed into Game 30 and told to go. There was no gradual build, just the hope that her body could withstand the sudden demands. The on-again, off-again rhythm of her season became one of the most exhausting parts of this entire ordeal. Clark recalled how, in the early stages of her injuries, she was desperate to get back as quickly as possible. But after her latest setback, her mom sent her a text that changed her perspective entirely. Knowing how hard this period had been on her, her mother wrote, "You've taken so much time for everybody else. You have to take time for yourself now." Those words hit differently. For Clark, the pressure to return wasn't just about basketball anymore, it was about learning to prioritize her health above everyone else's expectations. The numbers made it impossible to ignore her value to the league. The Fever played noticeably better with her on the court, boasting a record of 8-5 when she played, compared to 9-9 without her. Attendance took a hit in her absence, and television ratings reflected the same drop-off. The May 17th matchup between the Sky and Fever drew an impressive 2.5 million viewers, making it one of the highlights of WNBA viewership this season. But later games without Clark and other star players averaged closer to 1.5 million viewers on ABC. Meanwhile, her team was fighting to hold on to a playoff spot without their top scorer and playmaker. The roster was so thin at times that the Fever had stretches with only 9 players available, with league rules making it harder to sign replacements immediately. Despite her injuries, Clark made a point to attend every road game, whether she was playing or not. She acknowledged feeling a strong responsibility to be out there, not just for the team, but for the fans. She compared her situation to NBA stars like LeBron James or Stephen Curry, who still hold the spotlight even when injured. She wanted to give people something worth cheering or yelling about, knowing fans invest their time, money, and energy to see her play. The experience also gave her a new appreciation for her injured teammates and revealed just how dependent the league is on her presence. Without her scoring punch and playmaking, the Fever's offense became easier to defend, forcing teammates into roles they weren't fully prepared for. Their fifth-place standing felt fragile with every game she missed. Clark has made it clear that she still tries to give back to the fans, even when sideline signing more autographs when injured than when active, just to create memorable moments for them. When her conversation with Sue Bird shifted to officiating, Clark's candidness caught everyone off guard, including league executives. Sue asked about her sideline coaching during games, and Clark joked that she was really just coaching the referees. Before delivering the stinger, "I would make a good ref. I wouldn't miss a call." This was no throwaway comment. It landed in the middle of a season already plagued by officiating controversies. Coaches and players across the league had voiced their frustrations about inconsistent calls, with some even fined for speaking out. Clark's delivery blended humor and seriousness, making it clear she wasn't simply venting about calls against her. Her deep basketball IQ gave weight to her words. She had studied film, understood foul mechanics, and recognized positioning better than most. Her criticism wasn't just about herself. She had watched questionable calls go against her teammates from the sidelines and had seen patterns in officiating she couldn't ignore. Her rookie season and this current year have both shown her just how physically punishing the WNBA can be, often in ways that feel deliberate. When asked about the biggest adjustment from her first year, Clark didn't hesitate. She said it was the sheer amount of pressure she faced. She was hounded, full court, trapped, and physically challenged in ways she hadn't experienced in college. Early in the season, teams constantly picked her up 94 feet, forcing her into exhausting situations, game after game. Over time, that intensity tapered slightly, simply because it's hard for any team to sustain that level of pressure for an entire season. Still, she noticed it was far more aggressive than what other rookies dealt with, suggesting it was a targeted strategy to wear her down. Looking back, she described the defensive game plans against her as calculated and relentless. Teams weren't just trying to stop her from scoring, they were trying to break her physically over the course of 40 minutes. Her injuries only amplified the difficulty of managing such pressure. Unlike more predictable recoveries with set timelines, her injuries didn't come with a 6-week clock. It all depended on how she felt on any given day. Even when she managed to return, she could never be sure how her body would respond the next morning. That constant uncertainty, combined with the aggressive defenses she faced, turned her sophomore season into one of the most physically and mentally challenging stretches of her career. Ask ChatGPT